Welcome to Tongue First, the podcast where queer questions meet honest chaos. I'm Brooke. Tongue First is an unscripted, sapphic, and queer podcast hosted by Aubrey Siren Jones and Wendy Reeves. This week, they're joined by Daisy Barton.
So, Daisy, what are your pronouns?
Pronouns she, her.
Not bad bitch too, Daisy?
No.
Damn.
No.
But I always say on my lives, Miss Daisy if you're nasty.
Trans woman, TikTok creator, full-time Uber driver, and someone who knew who she was at 5 years old and spent decades finding her way back to her.
In 2021, that's when I went onto Facebook, I typed up a big post, I pressed send, and I went to sleep. And then when I woke up in the morning, I was like, oh my God, what did I do last night? And I ran over to the Facebook, brought it up, and it was everybody saying, you can be whatever you want to be, and we'll still love you for who you are.
This one covers a lot of ground. Purge cycles, an inpatient stay as a teenager, a therapist who told her to just be a man, and the Discord community that gave her the name Daisy.
Sounds pretty cool. So you trauma dumped on her?
Yeah, so I trauma dumped on her.
The trio discusses CPTSD and shadow work and self-soothing your way through an emotional flashback. They also talk about chopsticks that have their own scarf pocket, curly hair routines, and one truly unhinged dating story.
You have your emotional support chopsticks. Look, my emotional support tweezers are right here. You never know when you have to pluck a chin hair.
Right.
Look, she just picked her AirPods up with the, yeah, I love it. You can do all kinds of things.
It gets heavy, it gets healing, it gets very, very real. Grab your own emotional support chopsticks, get comfortable, and go tongue first. This is episode 12, AOL searches, shadow work, and emotional support chopsticks with Daisy Barton.
Cordera here, guest relations, social media, and the person responsible for getting the people you just heard into this room. If you haven't yet heard, we have a Patreon, Tongue First After Hours. Ad-free episodes start at $5 a month, bonus episodes open up at the $15 second cup tier, and Pillow Talk members get their name read in the credits of every episode, plus extra chaos, always. I also book the guests, so if you want to know who's coming next, the Patreon's where you'll hear it first. And if you want to be a guest, check out the request form on our website. Everything is at tonguefirstpodcast.com or the link in the show notes. Okay, Daisy's here. She's got her scarf chopsticks and she's ready. Let's go. And Siren has a nice butt.
Hello, podcast land.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 12. 12? Yeah.
I think so, yeah, 12.
Episode, we never know. We get it right every time, but episode 12
Right.
of Tongue First Podcast, the queer, wildly sapphic, sometimes crazy spicy podcast that somehow made it on the internet. I don't know why we continue to record these crazy things and post them online, but hey, we're here.
The people love it. They love it.
They do.
And if you want the spicy ones, you have to go on the Patreon.
That's true. That's true.
Which Mr. Val signed up for a subscription.
Oh, hell yes, Mr. Val. Oh my
Like,
gosh, thank
just
you.
Like 10 minutes ago, I seen it pop up, if that.
There's been so many amazing people who've subscribed and got on the Patreon and been a part of that little discussion space. It's pretty awesome.
Yes, it's amazing. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Wendy Reeves. I am half of... I was going to say the trifecta, but you need 3 for that. That's my alter ego is the other one.
Okay.
Or both of
Wendy
ours
1
together
and
because
Wendy
we're
2.
Geminis, so they say you have, so we'll
Right.
just put half of yours and half of mine and we'll call it the trifecta.
It's
Pronouns.
like thing 1 and thing 2 from Dr. Seuss.
Exactly.
Like the cat
exactly.
in the hat. You can be both things.
Exactly. I'll be both things.
Causing
Okay.
trouble.
And
Yeah.
exactly. And my pronouns are she, her, and bad bitch.
And my name's Siren. I am the other half of this crazy duo. My pronouns are she, her. I am really excited that we've gotten to do this now for 12 episodes. And we
That's
have
pretty
beautiful
wild.
guests that we've gotten to meet and have conversations with. We have a new guest with us today. This is Daisy Barton. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Yes, that's right.
Awesome. This is Daisy Barton, trans woman, TikTok creator, Uber driver, the kind of person who will alter her own clothes, cook you dinner on a live stream, and do her makeup in the car before a shift, all while building one of the most genuine communities on the internet. She went from a private person to hundreds of people watching her daily, and she did it while becoming herself in real time. And we're glad she's here.
Thank you.
Welcome in, Daisy.
So, Daisy, what are your pronouns?
Pronouns: she, her.
Not bad bitch too, Daisy?
No.
Damn.
No.
There's only room for one bad bitch around here, and it's me? Okay, cool.
But I always say on my lives, Miss Daisy if you're nasty.
If you're nasty.
If you're nasty. I like putting it if you're nasty on the end of things to spice it up, so I'm with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Y'all, Daisy makes the most delicious fucking meals. Like, I'll just be watching her eat. The chopsticks are essential. Do you use regular utensils? Because I feel she's got them in her hand right now, y'all.
If I need to use a fork, like spaghetti or whatever, I'll use a fork.
Yeah.
But
that's like a new definition for emotional support tweezers, Wendy.
Yeah, I was about to say you have your emotional support chopsticks. I love that. Look, my emotional support tweezers are right here. So you never know when you have to pluck a chin hair.
Right.
Look, she just picked her AirPods up with I love it. You can do all kinds of things.
Do you carry around your own set of chopsticks when you like go places and travel?
My hand embroidered scarf that I made actually has a pocket for chopsticks.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Oh, we're going to get a show and tell. If you're in podcast land and you're not watching the video, you're missing out right now.
I mean, I don't know why I'm not already wearing my signature scarf.
I mean, that is your emotional support scarf. So yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. It just goes right in there.
That's so cool.
You're just like, hold on, let me get my chopsticks. Boop.
I will admit, I had a small period in like middle school and high school where I ate like all of my meals in the cafeteria with chopsticks. A friend of mine was doing it, and I thought it'd be a good idea. I don't know. It was an experience. But
That's so funny.
Yeah. But they didn't have them in the cafeteria, so I had to bring my own.
Right.
And that's what made me ask if you brought your own places.
But I started doing that because it helps me eat slower. That's what I heard online is, eat a little bit slower. And, because I used to just cram food down and like feel like my stomach would be all upset. So I don't know. There's a reason for it.
Do you feel like it helps?
Yes. Okay. Eating slower and smaller bites, it has really helped with my digestion. And also I eat kimchi every day, which they say also helps with digestion.
So you're a TikTok live creator like Wendy and I. What else do you fill your time with? And tell us a little bit about the bigger picture of who Daisy is.
So I am currently a full-time Uber driver. I've been doing that since 2021 for hobbies like hand embroidery. I make clothes. I like going out to thrift stores and stuff to find unique things. I go to karaoke sometimes multiple times a week. I know a lot of people in that community here where I live. And then I go to a lot of concerts. I do concert filmography for the local scene in Kansas City. So I know a lot of people here. They often invite me to go to their shows, and I upload all those to my YouTube channel.
That's awesome.
I love that.
You sound like a really busy gal.
Yeah, I find a lot of stuff to fill my time because in the past I was a homebody and never left the house. So
yeah. Do you find it difficult to find new things, to find time reason to get out of the house still, or is there like a shift that happened? Or anything?
Oh no, honestly, the shift that happened was me transitioning. It's because I was just kind of afraid of leaving the house or afraid of meeting new people before I transitioned. Post social transitioning, I've kind of bloomed as a person and felt more comfortable meeting new people and being myself,
I love that. That is essentially like you were more apt to get out of the house because you finally were able to be your most authentic self.
Yeah.
And have new people meet you as Daisy versus, before you started your transition process.
Yeah.
Did you feel like the reason why you didn't want to do that is because maybe you didn't want to have to explain this other side of yourself that you weren't ready for everyone to see bloom yet?
Yes, that's a big part of it. I was afraid of pushing away friends and family and how everybody would react to me, transitioning. But I finally just got to the point where I was like, I can't keep doing this anymore. I can't keep pretending. And it's either now or never,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was having a hard time leaving the house, getting out of bed in the morning. I was taking prescribed Xanax just all day, every day, because
Just like function.
it's just to function, and also because it really makes you very forgetful. And I just wanted every day to blend together and to forget what happened the day before,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the decision I made first. I need to stop taking Xanax. I need to get myself out of bed. I need to stop just only playing, because there was a while where I didn't have a job and I was only playing World of Warcraft every day because I could play a character where I was myself, and people didn't have to know that I was still male, still the person I was. And
Yeah.
but when COVID happened, I was, had already quit taking the Xanax. I met a lot of people through a music community. Well, I guess if I back it up a little bit, in 2019, my brother knew how upset I was and wanted to kind of cheer me up a little bit. So he bought us both tickets to go to Bonnaroo.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay,
I'd
yeah.
never been to a festival before. So we went to that. And before going to that, I listened to a lot of the different bands there. And that really piqued my interest in starting to listen to new things. The music taste I used to have was just things that I had listened to before some things happened to me in my teen years when I first came out to my parents and they didn't respond well. From that point on, it felt like my life had kind of fell apart. My socially transitioning with friends and family, that began in 2021 when one night I was just really upset and I just typed up on Facebook, I'm a trans woman. This has been me my entire life. I was like, I can't do this anymore in my head. I just can't do this anymore. I have to, break free, break the egg,
Yeah.
And
you had to because the egg was already cracked. You just had to
Right.
show it to people.
Exactly.
You just needed to get the moment to I don't know,
'cause
express who you
like
were.
in the community where I'm from, had already been, behind closed doors, been myself since about 2018. I got the name Daisy from that community. In 2021, that's when I went onto Facebook, I typed up a big post, I pressed send, and I went to sleep. And then when I woke up in the morning, I was like, oh my God, what did I do last night? And I ran over to the Facebook, brought it up, and it was just everybody saying you can be whatever you want to be and we'll still love you for who you are.
I love that. That's a badass move to type that shit up and just be like, I'm going
Just
to
be
bed.
go.
Deuces.
Yeah.
Deuces.
Oh,
I'm proud of you. Hell yeah.
And that night I didn't think about what could possibly happen, because I actually had a roommate at that time that was connected to me as a friend on Facebook. And he didn't outright say that he was anti-trans, but he definitely acted like he didn't want to have a trans roommate. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was a whole thing.
Can I ask how long you were roommates before you posted that?
So January 2020 was when I moved in with that person.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it was even 2021, January 2021. And then it was August when I posted that Facebook post.
And how old were you around that time?
38, 39.
Okay. So there's a big gap of like when you kind of knew yourself and when you came out to your parents,
Right.
and then when you finally decided to like start coming out to people.
I mean, it's a situation where I kind of always knew. I mean, from some of my earliest memories when I was about like 5 years old in preschool, all my friends in
Yeah.
preschool were other girls. And I was one of those kids that would say, I don't want to be, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a boy. And, I was from a very conservative Christian family. And the typical response, the thought terminating cliche was, but God made you a boy. You're not a
Right.
girl. God made you a boy. You're not able to wear dresses because God made you a boy. We don't want you playing with Barbies because God made you a boy. And that was repeated to me. And my sister accepted me back then. And like she was always the babysitter. When my mom was out of the house, she would let me wear her old dresses that my mom had down in storage. And so, I would kind of be able to be free to be myself for that short sliver of time until my mom came home. And then it was like, quick, get that dress off now before mom gets in here, And so
Did you ever get caught?
not that I remember.
I got caught when I was like 12 or 13.
Well, I mean,
before I even had a word.
Not that early, right? Because like my sister eventually moved and also kind of got tired of,
Well, I'm sure she could see the joy that you felt there.
She's like
and
8 years older than me. So like, she
Yeah.
just became detached for being like the teenage sister. You know how that dynamic kind of goes.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like I knew I was trans before I even knew the word for it. Then
Yeah.
like,
did you have a word for it then? Like when you were like wearing your sister's dresses?
No, I just,
No.
I knew I wanted to be a girl. I kind of thought I was alone in the world and the only person in the world that felt that way, basically, until we got the internet when I was in like 6th grade.
Okay.
And then, when I was on AOL, I just went to the search engine, searched, boys that want to be girls, and boom, like, hold on, there are other people like me, and so that's when I started to, think about it in a different way, right? And like, so with the internet, I had access to eBay, and
this was like early internet. This was like
Mm-hmm.
96 AOL.
Right. So like 96, and then whenever eBay started to become popular during like the whole Beanie Baby thing, like I heard on TV, eBay, Beanie Babies, and so I went on to eBay and like started looking for clothes for myself and would order clothes, have them shipped to me. I would like every single day until it came be the first out to the mailbox because my mom's the type who is like, you got a box, I need to know what's inside it. So I was sneaking things in the house, and I like wouldn't hide them that well, right? And I had zero boundaries. And so my mom would often go into my room and clean it, and she would find the things, throw them away. So I would come home one day, I would look for the place where they were at, and they'd just be gone. And she wouldn't say anything about it. I wouldn't say anything about it. But then I would have to get new things, and it would really upset me when that happened. And then
I can imagine.
when I was about 14 years old, that's when one night I was like wearing a nightgown to bed. I had been doing that for a little while, just wearing a nightgown to bed. My stepdad walked in the room, yelled at me to wake up. The sheets weren't covering me. He saw what I was wearing. He was like, "What are you doing? Get dressed right now. Come down to the dinner table. I'm waking your mom up and we're having a conversation." So we went down and talked, and basically they were like, or he, because I don't think my mom ever necessarily had a problem with it. She just wasn't gonna go along with it. Right.
Right.
But then when he found out, he was basically like, what does this mean? Does this mean you're gay? Do you like men? Is that why you're wearing these clothes? And I was just like,
Yeah.
no. And I mean, that's super early to be forcing a child to say, pick a side, make a
Sure.
decision
Right.
right now. Right.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Yeah.
no, I just feel like I'm a girl. That's why I'm wearing these things. They were basically like, well, we want to take you to church to have a conversation with the youth pastor about this.
Oh God.
It's always that.
I was that youth pastor.
Right.
I was that youth pastor that had those conversations.
Yeah.
I never had a conversation with anybody about like their gender identity or feelings of.
Yeah.
I was the one that was like when a parent would introduce their kid as non-binary, which happened a couple times while I was still a youth pastor. Where I'd be like, yeah, absolutely, I love this. Like, we're gonna love them for who they are. It doesn't really matter,
Right.
how they show up. There was the questions of like what to do when we went on overnight retreats, but that's a different story. That thankfully I didn't have to figure out how to cross that bridge, but it is like probably something that a lot of people deal with now that I think about it.
Right.
It's always like a Jesus fix it situation, not like let's try to understand and make our child comfortable. It's like Jesus can fix you.
Circular logic.
Right, because the parent realizes they can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of just accepting and letting your child just be authentically themselves and figure it out, because you had these ideas of what you liked and like how you felt when you were wearing these things. But at 14, you're just trying to experience life and figure out yourself. So
exactly.
To have such a big conversation and be like, are you gay? Like, instead of just being like, okay, well, what does this mean to you?
Right. And it was never a sexuality thing for me. It was always, this was my gender identity. And I just hadn't revealed that to anybody else, and so like the whole situation with the youth pastor was kind of a nightmare because it never turned into anything bad other than the fact that like we met alone in the basement of the church and
not creepy at all
in a room with a desk and a bed. And and this man's trying to convince me, you're just gay because you feel like a woman. And he was just using circular logic to be like, but if you're a woman, he was like, if you're a woman and you only like women, then that's going to be wrong in God's eyes. And that's what the Bible teaches us. And so like, he was just using this circular logic, using the Bible to justify it. I was a smart kid. So when that first and only time was done, I went out to the car. I was like, he fixed me.
Yeah.
I was wrong. That's not me. Just
it was you were like actively choosing to lie to your parents. It wasn't like he didn't he didn't actually fix you.
Right.
And like, I'm not saying fix you, but like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You were just smart enough to say, if I don't go along with this, they're going to do some other shit that's going to make me uncomfortable.
Oh,
yeah.
Could have been down a whole other hole that you didn't want to be in with someone browbeating you about who you are.
Right.
That's crazy. Also, bravo.
Yeah.
That you were like, no, I'm good. I'm fixed.
Yeah.
Don't have to go back and see that guy ever again in creepy basement.
I mean, at the same time, I wish that I had been stronger in some way, more, I don't know. I was just never a confrontational kid, So that's probably a part of why too. I just went along with it. Basically, if they don't want this, I'll just hide it better. So that's what I did after that point, did a better job of hiding it. And eventually I got very upset between 8th and 9th grade. And I did the thing a lot of teenage kids do, or, trans kids, gay kids, where I, was really considering ending it all. And I was out late at night, like thinking really hard about it. And the police were called, and I got arrested for a curfew violation. And they were just pressing me in the youth intake, like, what are you doing out at night? What's happening? And I, at that point, I thought I was still a little naive, and I thought adults were there to help, right?
Yeah.
So I flat out told them, listen, I've been thinking of ending my life. And they just immediately were like, when they called my parents, they were like, he at the time has to be put into, sorry, this is a little bit tough.
No, you're good.
No,
Take
that's
your
okay.
time.
Take your time. And if you need to stop that's totally okay too. Just let us
Right.
know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, they made me go into a long-term inpatient thing for kids. So
Yeah.
I was stuck in that, and I was just trying to explain myself. Like, I feel like a trans girl. I want to be able to be myself. The doctors there were just basically like, you're just schizophrenic. You just need to take medicine. That'll
Wow.
stop you. You're just crazy. You're schizophrenic. This will stop you from feeling this way. And luckily, there was, another kid in there that was a little bit older than me. And when we had a private time together, because we were only out of our rooms for like 4 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Before the therapist came in with one of our group sessions, he was like, don't take those medicines that they're giving you. They're just going to mess you up. So like, I wouldn't take the medicines. I didn't take the medicines because I knew I wasn't crazy. But at the same time, leaving that, I again closed up further and just decided
But it's also going to be so hard that every adult in your life is telling you that you are.
Right.
Right.
Like, to reconcile all that together. My only experience, like, before I was in my 30s was 12, 13 years old when I finally getting to the size of a body that I could steal my mom's clothes.
Oh yeah.
And try them on. I finally got there, and it was maybe the second or third time that I ever because I'd have to be a day that I didn't have school, or I got up really early, or but she had to be at work, and she worked a shift work, so it was 48 hours off, 24 hours on. So I'd have mornings every once in a while where the house would be empty. Well, the third time this happened, there was a snow day, and she was home.
Yeah.
And I got caught middle of the act. I got yelled at, and basically to put everything away. And the only conversation about it that we had was it's okay to be gay,
Oh yeah.
from my mom. And I was like, that's not what this is.
Right.
This clearly is not okay.
Yes, because I assume you're kind of around the same age I am, like early 40s.
Yeah, I'm 30, 38.
Oh, 38.
Just turned 30.
You're still kind of close in terms of
Yeah,
I'm early 40s. And so that, definitely was a different era. You have to remember that. And
yeah,
the trans identity wasn't something that was, well known out of big cities, right? Wasn't really representative in media.
not with any positive light,
Right.
ever. Yeah. No, I didn't learn from AOL. I learned from a documentary. Yeah, it was a Lifetime documentary that was about trans women who were all in their 50s or 60s and had gotten married and had kids and did all the things that they were expected to. It was enlightening because I was like, oh shit, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Did you have a moment like that when you realized you weren't the only one? Was it AOL?
It was the AOL. Yeah. And I went down into a rabbit hole with that, with, basically predators online. But
I'm sorry.
yeah, because, we won't dig in there. But yeah, after that inpatient thing happened to me, I was just basically like, if revealing this makes people think that I'm crazy, I'm just never going to reveal it to anybody else again. And I had girlfriends that in my early 20s found clothes. I have one girlfriend that found clothes in my apartment, and she confronted me about it. Like, do you have another girlfriend? Why are these clothes here? And I was afraid to tell her because I was afraid she would think I was crazy. and, tell our friend group.
Right.
And like, so I just lied to her, and I was like, yeah, my sister stayed the night, which in hindsight, that makes absolutely no sense. I was in a studio apartment and like, why would my sister stay there? But so that pushed her away. We eventually broke up. I had another girlfriend, my mid-20s, that we dated each other for a while. And I did tell her that I wanted to wear her clothes, but I didn't explain the reason why,
Yeah.
and she was cool with it. She just thought it was funny.
Yeah. Were you like still researching and finding other people that were experiencing your story at this time, or were you kind of like you were in the closet on anything like out of just like clothes?
I was just basically still very much in the closet. I mean, like you, I'd seen documentaries and like Paris is Burning, and
Yeah.
I mean, like one of the first awakening ones in my teens was the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I remember seeing that for the
Hell
first
yeah.
time and being like, this is incredible,
That was just before my time. Like I didn't see Rocky Horror. I think I
Ever?
didn't even really see it until after I came out.
Oh.
I'm being honest.
Such a great
which I watched and I was like, is this okay?
Right.
We're okay with this? But
Rocky Horror is still rad to this day.
Mhm.
Still
Yeah.
rad as fuck. I have a question about like, so when you were in the, I guess, treatment facility, like how long were you there?
I believe it was something like 10 days.
Okay.
Because it all kind of blended together in my memories. I remember we had, it's like based on movie nights that I remember, because we had several movie nights, and so I remember those movies that I saw there, because basically that was the only part of it that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And other kids came and left.
was this like specifically conversion therapy style?
No, it was
Okay.
a hospital inpatient.
Gotcha.
Just for like suicidal.
And yeah, for suicidal kids,
Like suicidal
or
kids.
other kids with mental health issues.
Got it. So in that scenario, when you went home, was there a conversation that your parents had with you?
No,
You just came home and they just pretended like everything was
pretended to the point
good.
where they told me that if anybody asked, I went to a family funeral in a different state. So, and
So like actively feeding you what misinformation to spread.
right.
And so you said your sister is 8 years older than you. So do you, like, when you were little and you were putting the dresses on, did she ever have a conversation with you about that?
No,
Because she was okay with you doing that, but she was just like, I don't care. She never said, hey, like, why do you want to do that? Like, how do you feel? Like,
no, there was never a conversation like that. And it was kind of a joke. It started turning into a little bit of a joke between us, because I would like, I would kind of like signal, because like when we would be on the couch together at like family functions or something, I would cross my legs like she would cross her legs. And then, she would be like, boys don't cross their legs like that. But
I had an older sister, like 6-7 years older than me. Half sister. So we didn't spend a lot of time together. She lived mostly with her mom. But I remember there were some summers where like her and her friends would get together, and I was young, but they would like try to dress me up as a girl for their little video or whatever they were shooting. And this is back like with like a VHS tape camcorder,
right.
like something no one else in the world was going to see.
Yeah.
Right. But they were, goofy kids. And I remember consciously thinking like, I know that I'm not supposed to enjoy this like I'm enjoying this. Like I need to pretend like, oh, this isn't actually what I want to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was really hard.
like, no, don't do that.
Like, oh no, oh God.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't want to do that.
But it's funny you mentioned that because, like, in middle school, high school, I had a camcorder. So, like, we would do like Monty Python style skits and things on the camcorder.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
somehow magically, I was always the one volunteering to be the woman.
Oh yeah. Someone has to do it, I guess, you know?
Yeah, I guess it'll be me. I'll take one for the
An
team.
excuse to wear dresses and stuff.
Yeah, but you guys owe me next time. I'm not going to do this every time. Yeah.
Right. Were there any other like pivotal moments before 2018 when you like first started like actively coming out in your adulthood that like kind of adjusted who you were, your relationship with yourself, or as you were kind of exploring this? Was there a moment where you gave up, where you like, you know, threw all the clothes away and you were like, I'm not doing this anymore?
Oh yeah. I mean, many times I threw everything away. Like, I can't do this, or, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. And, you know, they call that purging.
Yeah.
I went through a lot of purge cycles, and, you know, at times I would regret having thrown everything away. And like, I would pack it up and like take it to the grocery store near me where there's trash cans in the parking lot and throw it away in the parking lot trash can. So I couldn't go back outside to my own personal trash can and get it back out, you know? And it's like, so that happened a bunch. And then another pivotal moment in my early 30s, I was doing online dating. I dated this one woman for a good period of time, and I came out to her and I was like, listen, I'm trans. I, you know, have women's clothes here, because I was trying to open up and explore it. And we dated each other for a while, and she, you know, was cool with it. But one night she got completely drunk, and it was a situation where she was like, nobody will ever love you. She told me that she wanted me to marry her and to propose to her. And the reason why is because nobody else will love you knowing what I know. And it really upset me that she said that to me. And I was like,
That's a very upsetting thing to say to anybody.
Yeah.
And I basically told her, you know, if nobody but you will love me, then I guess nobody will love me because I don't want to be with you anymore. So that put me in a bad place for a little while.
Good for you, though.
Yeah.
For like, you know,
Putting my foot down
you
and
didn't
saying
let
no.
that slide. Yeah, you
I
didn't
mean,
let that slide. You were like, no.
That's really controlling of a person to say that to you, you know, and like,
Yeah.
kind of gaslighting me in a way.
What was the thing that pushed it over the edge? Like, how did, like, you said that night that you like came out on Facebook, it was a few years before you came out to like friends and family?
Around like 2018, I had found a community locally, because I started going to a coffee group at a local gay bar. And the first time I tried going to it, I sat in my car for a little while and I didn't have the confidence to go in. And I eventually just started my car up and drove off. The second time I went there, I was like, I gained a little bit more confidence and I went in. And there was a trans woman there, and, you know, she was beautiful and I loved her style. And I talked to her for a little bit, and I wish I remembered her name, but, you know, she kind of started making me a little more like willing to be open. And then in that community, like, we had a Discord server and my name on there was Lackadaisy Lady. I've had that name for a while, and they were the ones who were like, it's a mouthful to call you Lackadaisy Lady on here, so we're just going to call you Daisy. And so they were the ones who actually gave me my name. And also through that community, we had a Christmas sleepover one night, and it was, you know, a heck of a lot of fun. And the woman that hosted it, at the end of the night, and in the morning, we all had breakfast. Almost everybody left except me, her, and her husband. You know, we were just the only ones left there. And she had already told me many times that she was a therapist. You know, I knew her job. I didn't have access to therapy. So I basically just like put it on her. Like, her name's Mistress Valraven. She was a really interesting person.
Sounds pretty cool. So you trauma dumped on her?
Yeah. So I trauma dumped on her. I explained what was going on. I explained that, inside I'm a trans woman. And she was like, you really do need to get into therapy because I can tell by what you're telling me and everything that's happened over the course of your life that you have CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And I had never heard that term before then. And it made me go home and get on the internet and start researching. I listened to an audiobook on YouTube by a guy named Pete Walker called CPTSD From Surviving to Thriving. And it was mind-opening to me. Like, it made me realize that my inability to get out of bed, everything that was happening to me, the brain fog that I would have, my panic attacks, everything like that were just all based on all these experiences that I had had over the course of my life. I learned about the concept of shadow work and trying to break down that shadow self to allow yourself to not go into the emotional flashbacks where literally you feel like you're in that moment in that specific period of time. And at times I'll still have these emotional flashbacks, but the book has taught me to recognize that it's happening, and you do things, you recite things to yourself, like you're no longer that child that's in a difficult position. You're a grown person. You have tools that you didn't have then to, all these things you recite to yourself to kind of snap you out of that situation. And
like mantras, but
Right.
in more of like a like you're safe way,
Like a
but like
self-soothing
specifically to you.
situation where you're self-soothing.
self-soothing, hugging your inner child, and telling your inner child, you're safe. I'm here for you, and so this type of shadow work has helped me get to that point in 2021.
Do you have just because you've been talking about Googling stuff, like the type of shadow work that you've done? So if anybody wants to Google a little bit more, and if they're going through similar things, what is some of can you give them some references, what to kind of look into?
I definitely recommend the CPTSD From Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker, and any of the interviews on YouTube that Pete Walker has given, because he was also a person that suffered from CPTSD, who learned these methods to free himself of it and heal that emotional trauma that was underlying in himself. Difficult work for me. Because the first therapist that I found, and that first session when I went to that, I had an emotional breakdown. That woman must not have ever worked with anybody with CPTSD, because she was just deer in the headlights, didn't know how to respond, that I was over here crying and unable to speak for an entire therapy session. And I went home from that and I told my mom, because I wanted to come out to her then. And I asked her, will you go to a session with me? I want to speak with you with another person there, to moderate. And she was like, I will never go into a therapy session with you. So when she told me that, I was just, I was just like, it's just going to keep happening. You might as well cancel the next appointment, because, it's just going to be me crying an entire session again. And then I saw an advertisement for BetterHelp at one point. So I was like, all right, I'll try BetterHelp. Because maybe if I'm right now where it's just over the internet, not in the same room, maybe I'll be more comfortable to work on this trauma and soothing the trauma. But that therapist, when, I fully explained to her that I'm trans, that I want to come out, that I'm having a difficult time with it. And then one day because I was having a problem even working. Like one day I just couldn't work at work the entire day. I was just basically in the bathroom the entire day crying because I was just having a difficulty being myself, right?
Yeah.
And I had that therapy appointment that day, and I said to her, I've just been spending all day crying in the bathroom. And she's like frustrated, like, you just need to be a man and stop crying. And so I got seriously upset by that. And I told her,
That's
I
awful.
appreciate all the advice that you've given me up to this point, but I'm going to cancel any future sessions with you.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah.
Just one is shitty thing to say, and you're a therapist, so you're supposed to be a safe space, and then to say something like that.
Yeah.
When you're already like struggling so much.
And she had claimed on her profile that she was LGBTQ friendly.
The fuck? If you're out there, fuck you.
Right.
Your mom's a hoe.
But yeah.
That's what I heard.
That would be even more like disheartening,
Yeah.
To keep like, so other than the therapist that you kind of trauma dumped on, was there anybody that you felt like was a safe space and a safe person for you to actually be your authentic self and could actually talk to them?
It took me a couple years to get to the point, because that was like 2018. 2019, I went to that music festival. 2020, COVID shut everything down because I was starting to try to get out and live my life. And then boom, COVID happens, shuts everything down.
Yeah.
Beginning of 2020, I saw a band called Twiddle, and they have really inspirational music. And like one of their songs is like Relax and Dream, where it's just telling you, just relax, and so their music was really therapeutic for me. I went out of my comfort space, drove up to Kansas City from my hometown, and saw them in concert. And I met a bunch of people there that day. And I felt, I felt something that I hadn't found in a while, because I met people. I became friends with them just at the concert. We exchanged information. I kept talking to them on the internet. And then COVID happened, and we all started just talking to each other on the internet through the Twiddle community, through other bands. And then 2020, and then one of my friends on there who, was really concerned about me, and actually a very good friend, because we spent hours together playing together.
I used to play Destiny, and we would spend hours on these raids.
Right.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, and a lot of downtime between where we're just chatting and stuff. And one of those friends,
like, Jimmy, why didn't you eat before we started? Come on.
But it's like one of these people was like, hey, I've started doing DoorDash. I'm just making more money than I ever had in my life. I know you kind of need a job, and a job where you can be by yourself. You should give this a try, because it feels like World of Warcraft. You're going and fetching food and delivering it to people. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And like he said, I was making more money than I ever had in my life. I had the money to be able to move out of my parents' house. I moved in with the wrong person.
But you didn't know that at the time.
Right.
You're learning, right? Like, I mean, every experience we have is a learning opportunity.
Yeah. I was saving up money, and I went to a lot of different music festivals, and was, getting out of my comfort space and allowing myself to be more social. And then I decided to quit video games completely, which really kind of changed my life. What I was afraid of in coming out too was living in a very conservative Christian community in Kansas and not feeling like I was free to be myself in public. Because friends and family, they're all cool with it because they know me, but what are people in public going to think? And I knew that Kansas City was, a more welcoming community, and that there was a large LGBTQ community up here. So I just worked and saved up as much money as I could, moved up to Kansas City, and I started transitioning and like finding new clothes for myself, went to Planned Parenthood to try to get on to hormone therapy. That was kind of a nightmare because the doctor kept canceling appointments, and that was making me upset because I was like, I just want to
waiting so long for this.
I've been waiting so long. I just want to do this.
Yeah.
And then I was on hormones for maybe a month and a half. And that's when the whole election cycle started up.
Yeah.
And there was, all that negativity towards trans people throughout the 2024 election period. So I slid back again. And 2024, I stopped taking hormones. I was feeling, slid back to where I was in bed all the time, feeling like I couldn't go out and work, being very deeply depressed.
Yeah.
And 2024 feels like it was kind of a lost year because of all that. But then in 2025, I was like, I'm not going to let politics control my life. And that's when I picked up sewing.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about that. Like, tell us about like altering clothes. Like, when did that start? And I feel like that's probably means a lot to you.
Well, I learned sewing in high school because I took all the different sewing courses because I absolutely loved it. And it actually made me, even though I didn't tell anybody that this, made me feel more feminine, it really was something that felt, validating to me in my gender identity. Because after the first sewing class, it's mainly only other girls in there, right? And at least in my school it was. And I took all the different sewing courses, and by the last class I was making pants and like making handbags, like doing a bunch of different things. And like every project I was doing, the teacher would be like, girls, come over here and look what they're doing over here. And so that was like feeling like a very confident boosting thing to me. And she even invited me to be her teacher's aide for a couple years. And then after high school, I just didn't have the money. I didn't have the equipment. So that all slipped away. And then last year, I was feeling upset that I let that skill go. And I asked my great aunt, who sews and has a huge sewing room, can I have some machines of yours? And she gave me 2 different machines. Joann's was closing down. So I was like, all right, this is my time. And I went and I bought a whole bunch of this closeout, cloth, because I would have a chance to fail. And I wouldn't have to worry about how much money I was spending on it. I mean, I began by actually making like shirt. I made a dress and, different things to kind of expand my wardrobe, because at the time, I didn't feel comfortable with my size because, sometimes I would go to the store and I wouldn't be able to find anything that fit me properly. So I wanted to be able to make my own shirts that, the cuff would actually go to where it
Is it because you're tall?
Yeah.
Because you're tall?
Right.
Yeah.
And I've actually shrunk a little bit since starting on hormone.
Yeah.
That's what you were telling me. That's crazy.
I've lost 3 inches.
How tall are you, or how tall were you, and how tall are you now?
I was 6'3", and now I'm 6 foot.
Whoa.
That's
okay.
crazy. Yeah.
I know, right?
I've heard of, did you lose that? I went down like a shoe size or 2.
My shoe size hasn't gotten smaller, but
yeah,
because I'm an 11 women's, and I wish I would get a little bit smaller.
Right.
Yeah,
So
it's hard to find
I was a
women's
15 in women's, which you can't get anything
Right.
in a 15.
And 11's not too bad,
But-
right?
Yeah, you can get some. I was going to say you can get some stuff in 11.
Yeah, you
like
can get
I
some.
get like gender neutral anything shoes related, but thank God for Docs and Vans and stuff.
Mhm.
We love a tall queen.
Right. But like
Yes, we do.
I know my dimensions very well because
Pick me up.
because of sewing and stuff like that. My hips have widened, my waist has kind of gone down a little bit,
Yeah.
and so that's been a little bit making me pretty happy over here.
Yeah.
That's good.
We just got back from the beach and one of my most like beautiful moments of gender euphoria happened recently when I like, the tan lines from a bathing suit.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, it's so good. And I've had it before, but it's just so good. It just feels like so.
I'm still not comfortable with swimming. Like,
Yeah.
maybe if I had a friend that had a pool and we were in private, but like,
Mhm.
I wouldn't go to like an apartment pool or something like that with other people around.
Sure.
But sewing stuff, making clothes for myself, that's also been very gender affirming for me, because a lot of women will, walk up to me and be like, wow, that skirt's beautiful. Where did you get it? And I'm just like, oh, I made it myself. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I can't believe you made that.
That's awesome.
It makes me really happy when that happens. And,
Yeah.
like if I go to the mall wearing this scarf, I'll get half a dozen comments on it, and I get comments throughout the day telling me that, that they love my style and whatever else. And so that's, I'm glad that because I felt like an outsider, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before I found my style and developed my style, I felt like I was just, buying things. It would just sit in my closet because I didn't understand style. And
Yeah.
and it wasn't until like I started researching stuff on YouTube and, like looking into my color season, looking into different, aesthetic, because I go for like kind of like a soft girl, cottage core,
Yeah.
like 50s, early 60s, that kind of aesthetic. And that's,
Keep talking. I'm gonna go kiss my kids. Good night. Be right back.
but yeah, that really helped me come into myself, learning how to do my curly hair.
Did it feel like when you first were trying to like hone in on your style, did it feel really overwhelming with like just the variety of things that you can buy and get? And
yeah,
because just thinking about it, for me, being a mass lesbian, like, I've had femme girlfriends and I'm just like, how the fuck do you get into this, let alone fold this up? You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's just like, so I even get overwhelmed with some of women's clothing. So
yeah, I know what you mean. Like at first I wasn't comfortable going to stores and shopping.
yeah.
So like I was just buying stuff online, and then it would, it always looks great on the model, right?
Right. And then it doesn't fit you worth the shit.
And then I get it in the mail and it's like, this looks weird. But like, I don't know why I would buy things and then it would just sit in my closet because I would forget to return it.
Yeah.
And
I'm
yeah,
horrible when it comes to returns, Daisy.
Yeah.
If I get something and it doesn't fit me, I'll give it away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather die than return something.
Well, that was another.
I'm just like, you can have this. They're like, you sure? I'm like, yep. You don't want to try it? Nope.
Nope.
Sounds like a horrible idea. I'll just purchase something different.
Mhm.
So I can see where that would be. And I'm constantly seeing you sew on TikTok and doing your makeup and your hair.
Yeah.
And
Got a new dress phone, so that way I can actually make things a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to use that.
Tell me about like how the process has been with like you learning how to put makeup on and do your hair the way you want it. Like, do you watch tutorials? Do you look things up? Like, tell me that process for you.
Well, like for my hair, when I started growing that out, because I never really cut my hair below my eyebrows or let it grow below my eyebrows until I started transitioning. And then I was like, all right, let's get this nice and long. And as it was growing, I was like, and this is getting super frizzy and stuff. And like, I was trying to use straightening products and stuff like that. One day I had an Uber passenger who, she was a hairstylist, and she gets in the car and she was like, you have some nice curly hair. And that blew my mind. I was like, I thought my hair was straight. And she's like, no, you definitely got some curls in there. You can definitely work with them. So I went home after that, me and the internet. I go on to Google and I'm like, how to turn
Daisy goes
straight
back
hair
to the internet.
curly.
Any question she has is like, this
Yeah,
is going to be
straight
my
to-
answer.
straight
It's
to
right
Googs.
there.
That's totally me. So like how to turn straight hair curly. I found the curly girl method, which is like
Yeah.
a very specific method of how to use very, curly dedicated product and brush your hair out a certain way, wash it a certain way. And it took me like a year to kind of get comfortable with that curly girl method. I'm still getting better like every wash day. Like I'm getting a little bit better. Today was a wash day
Mm-hmm.
at doing the root lift. And so I'm very
It looks
confident about
great.
doing that.
Yeah, the curls were definitely popping today for sure.
I didn't have curly hair before I started on hormones and regrew my hair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
Well, my brother
I
has
also
completely curly
I don't
hair,
have the
so
patience
it's
to
insane.
continue like a routine of like making sure my hair looks nice and crisp every morning. I some mornings I get it. Some mornings we get it.
Well, this is all self-care for me,
I love it.
and it makes me happy to do it. It makes me happy getting the compliments out in the world and on TikTok now. People asking me how I'm doing this, what products I use, things like that. And then makeup, I had a friend who helped me buy a bunch of makeup, and I tried to use it for a little while, but like one Christmas I tried to do it and go to Christmas, and like when I saw the pictures from that day, it kind of upset me because I still didn't know what I was doing, and I felt like it looked weird. So like I just put all that in a bag and forgot about it. And then when I started hormones again last year, I was like, I got all that makeup just lying around. Let's dig back into that. So I tried to put it on again. It looked all odd again, right? And instead of just wiping it off, I got in my car, I drove to the department store, and I was like, what did I do wrong here?
Yeah.
And then the person at the counter explained to me a little bit, how to kind of tweak it a little bit to make it a little bit better. And then I went on to YouTube and looked up some different, makeup influencer and kind of tried to emulate what they were doing. And I feel like I was getting a little bit better at it, but it wasn't until I started doing it on TikTok lives that I really, started gaining some skills, because as I was doing it, I had people down in chat coaching me.
Right.
And like, hey, you should do
like
this.
they come up with the craziest shit sometimes too. Oh my God.
I love that. Okay, the person annoyed me today to tell you that something was uneven on your face. That kind of pissed me off. I was like, now I was thinking to myself, and I almost said it, was that helpful or was that harmful?
Right.
Did that comment need to be said?
Yeah.
Especially being like, well, I know you. Well, if you know that I'm OCD, Stacy, why the fuck are you saying that?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like sometimes people are just like, you couldn't just be like, you did such a good job on your eye makeup. Yeah. She was like, yeah, that one's thicker than the other one. And I'm just like, fuck off.
And I was getting so frustrated. I don't know if you watched me that entire time, but I was like trying to put it on.
Didn't.
I was trying to rub it off. Like I tried several times because I was using.
You tried so hard. Yeah.
And that was a big part of it too, is it was a new product that I wasn't used to using.
Mm-hmm. I just gotta say I was extremely annoyed by that.
But yeah, and then people will tell me.
You handled that conversation so well too when she said that, and I was just like,
I'll just cover it up.
Yeah, I was just like, ew. Like, why did you say that, you shit? Like, gosh, people just are so compelled to make someone feel like shit sometimes, and it bothers me.
Back to shadow work. That's why I started doing TikTok, is because I wanted, I wanted to be more comfortable in my skin, build up a little bit of an armor, so that way when I was out in the real world, if somebody hassled me, I wouldn't just break down in tears and get upset.
Right.
And at first it was really hard because like I didn't have the community that I have now. I didn't have the mod team that I have now. My mods now are great, where sometimes I don't even see the comment that's said.
Oh, like, yeah, they're fucking quick with it.
It's already blocked. And I'm like, wow, thank you for blocking that. I didn't even have to see what was said. But
Shout out to our
first I was
mods.
getting
All three of
trolled.
us are live people. Shout out to the
Yeah,
amazing
W
moderators that
mods,
keep
y'all are
us
fucking
going.
amazing.
Absolutely.
But at first it was just all trolls. You know, me trying to go in there every single time and like mute and block it. And I was getting very upset at the beginning and going to my therapist and being like, I'm trying to do this TikTok thing and I'm getting seriously upset by the very mean things that people are saying to me. And she was just like, you know, just maybe stick with it. Or if you feel like you can't keep doing it, don't keep doing it. You know, just do whatever you feel comfortable with. And it just kind of started all at once to just blow up. I met a lot of really nice people through there, you know, and it's really helped.
I remember the first time I was in a room with you, Daisy. I don't know if I was in there with Wendy or not. I forget exactly how we lined up the first time, but you felt very fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was a while ago. You felt very new and like you were a little timid. And like the last time I went in a room with you, you were such a different person. Like you're so much more like just confident. I said she was in my room earlier today and I was like, she has this like dry sass that's just like
Yes.
perfect. Like it's just so like I don't even know. It's just so good. I really
You
appreciate
don't
your
know if
energy.
Daisy is interested or completely unbothered most of the time because the dryness that she like just exudes is, you're like, huh, I'm so intrigued by this. Like, does she not give a fuck or is she just like so laid back? You know?
Normally lesbians don't take dryness as a compliment, but I hope you take it as a bit of a compliment.
Yeah.
I like my dry wit. You can totally call me out on it.
We love witty girls, but I wanted to know if like that gets you in trouble, like because people misunderstand you and think maybe you're being like rude or dismissive. Does that ever get you in a situation where people, you know, because perception and perspective, like people take things so differently depending on who they are.
I would definitely say my big mouth has gotten me in trouble a time or two, you know, and sometimes I really do have to explain, you know, that was just a joke, you know.
Yeah.
But there are still times where things really get to me. And and even though I'm trying not to show it on, you know, some of the people that have watched me a long time can tell when
they know immediately
when something's different, and they're like, are you okay, Daisy? Or if I start diving into one of the subjects like I've been talking about on here, where I will start literally disassociating and be putting myself in an emotional flashback, one of my mods will literally be like, Daisy, stop, you know? Just don't keep talking about this, move on. And then like last night I had one that like literally really got under my skin because it was somebody that had been in my chat for a while. I recognized her name from coming back often. And she said to me that, you know, I think you're a really great person, but you will never know what it means to be a woman. Wow. And I just instantly replied to her. I was like, you know, I know you've been in here a lot. I'm just going to forget you just said that, but that was very mean-hearted. And then she just doubled down on it. And I said, you're done. I mean, it literally is, you are done. And I was the one that muted and blocked that person, where normally I just let my mods handle it. Right.
Yeah. There are those people that get under your skin that like that just refuse to get it right, or like refuse to like try, or you know, will say something that is like, are you for real right now?
Right.
Yeah.
Like I thought we understood each other at least a little bit.
Yeah. And that's
like,
what
what's
it was.
the point of
like,
that
why
person?
do you keep coming back?
Exactly. That's what I was about to say, Daisy. Like, what's the point of them coming into your fucking chat just and seeing like what kind of person you are, and even seeing like things that we struggle with, and then to like say that, like, why? When people do shit like that, they feel like they're about to fucking explode and they just have to say the dumb, hateful, mean shit that they say, or they just might perish. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't have that part of me to just project bullshit onto people if I don't like something or if I don't understand. And most of it's like you don't even understand. So you're more apt to be hateful about something because you have no idea what it's like. And how lucky are you that you don't have to deal with the things that queer people, trans people, people of color, women have to deal with on a regular basis. And it's like, you're never going to understand where I'm coming from. And
Right.
to try to debate you with that is, you're not ever going to understand the logic.
It's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it. It's just going to be insanity trying to explain that. And I think we've all had people like that where they've come into our chat on a regular basis and you get to know them. And then all of a sudden they pop out with like, okay, now you're saying how you really feel.
Yeah.
So what's the point of you being in here? Are you mad that you can't live your authentic self like I am?
I think it is that case, and sometimes they're upset that they don't have the same confidence,
Yeah.
or that they're unwilling to change in some way.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I tell myself. It's a you problem. It's not a me problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you could pick like one of the best things and the worst things about being a trans woman on TikTok, what would they be?
One of the best things is just all the people that I've met on here who see me for who I am and accept me for who I am and allow me to be open and honest with them about, my life and all that. And I guess I've already talked about the worst part is just all the trolling and stuff like that. I, have had a lot of experiences. Like I try not to swipe through TikTok all that often. One day recently, I swiped onto like an anti-trans debate panel, and I was just
you told me about
very upset about the things that they were saying, and I felt like I had to defend trans people, so I joined up on, and I just took a barrage of toxicity for a long period of time, and it's like in my CPTSD brain, I just kind of sat there and took.
Yeah, I feel like I do that too, even more now than I ever did before.
Yeah.
That's like just like a huge difference. I'm not as confrontational. I'm very much like I'll sit there and take it from you
Right.
for a while before I like come back. Have you kind of felt your like emotions kind of shifting in that way more now that you've been on like HRT for a little bit?
I'd say that too, and I'm just afraid of triggering somebody to attack me.
Yeah.
So like I literally, when I leave the house, I say that I'm like an ambassador for the trans community, trying to just be, always have a smile, always have a friendly tone, because I would hate to be that person that ends up being recorded and then I become a meme on the internet.
Yeah.
Everybody comes into my chat and says, "You're the next Lily Tino." I don't.
Oh yeah, I get that.
I don't want to be the next Lily Tino over here.
Her name has made it onto my like blocked words list.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah.
So many times because of like, that association.
Right.
Especially the curly hair.
And
I mean, it's also a situation where like, are you worried for your safety being your authentic self and going out in the world? Because just how today is and how like it's, people have been killed for being trans, for being gay, for being queer. You know what I mean? Even with it being 2026, even people of color, like the shit that is happening in the world is so scary. And it's so brave for you both to be trans women and living your authentic self. And I think that when it comes to a situation where it's like male to female, I just feel a little bit more scared than like female to male, and just how the world is and how hateful people are, because, we've all had situations where I don't know if you've had anything happen to you where, someone has come up to you when you're just merely existing and said some really hateful shit and you felt like your actual physical safety was in danger.
Yeah.
Because I know I have, and I know Siren has, just existing at a concert waiting on my best friend, and a cis man that was drunk was like, "You look like a faggot, aren't you? I should beat your ass." And I'm just like, I'm just literally standing here waiting on my best friend,
Yeah.
like not doing anything. It's hard, and I'm just like so proud of every trans person, and I'm very protective out in a space or a situation with any one of my friends that are trans. I'm just hyper aware of my surroundings, and like, you know, Siren and I are just together. She might not know it, but I make sure that I can see her comfortability. I can read her very well.
I noticed that a lot.
So
I appreciate that.
absolutely.
When I decided to come back out last year, I just made a conscious decision in my mind that whatever happens, happens. And if I become a martyr for the trans community and end up in the Day of Remembrance in November, it is what it is. I can't stop hiding.
Yeah.
I can't spend all day, every day in my bed, like not
Yeah.
sliding back to where I was for decades. I still am very protective of myself in a way, because like, even though I am out and about a lot, I only go to places where I know people and like,
You feel comfortable.
where I feel comfortable. I frequent the same coffee shops, restaurants. I try to make friends with all the employees that are there and be overly friendly with all the employees that are there. I go to a lot of concerts, and I've made friends with the, soundboard people, the door people, the bartenders, the people in the local scene bands that I go to. I know a lot of people. And part of the reason for that is for a little bit of security for myself, to where if anybody out there does like what that person did to you at the show, everybody in the room will be like, you stay away from Daisy. She's with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about the word brave? Talk about being out as yourself.
I definitely think it takes courage, and it requires you to be brave.
Yeah. I was just curious. I find that, like, I think being out in public requires a bit of bravery, but like choosing to be my authentic self, like, it was less bravery and more there wasn't another option.
Right.
Like there came a point where like the hiding wasn't going to be effective.
Yeah.
In terms of like my own mental health. So like while like people see it as brave, sometimes I'm like, well,
it doesn't feel brave.
Doesn't feel brave.
I think I see it as like brave because of how society treats people that are trans, specifically like, male to female, especially if someone's a person of color and they're male to female. So I think that you both got to a point where you're like, essentially, I'd rather fucking die than not be my authentic self anymore. Like, I'm so miserable and depressed that if I don't just do it and be myself, I would just rather not fucking be here, because I'm tired of pretending to be someone I'm not.
Right.
And to me, I just think that's badass, because like, there's so many people that fucking don't want trans people to exist, and to me that's very brave, because I've seen a lot of like female to male trans men that they're so passable, you know what I mean? Like, they're so passing that you wouldn't be able to tell that this person is a trans person.
Exactly.
And everything is like very subjective. Like, you want to come out and be a trans woman, and you just hope that like you're passing enough to where someone doesn't fucking want to just like end your existence for being yourself. And to me, that takes a lot of fucking bravery. So I think you're both very brave.
And like other people have said, I do the hyper feminine thing to feel more comfortable in public. I wear very, feminine dresses, do the full makeup, do my hair the way I do it, because it's like I feel more confident in myself than if I go out in a pair of jeans,
Yeah.
Ooh, another thing that's going to really boost my confidence, I've been working with lawyers to get my legal name change done. And they just sent
Hell
me an
yeah.
email today that we were assigned a judge, that the judge is a sympathetic judge here in Kansas, that he won't require a hearing or anything, and it should happen within the next week or two. So
That's
Oh, yes.
amazing.
I'll
Hell
finally be able
yes.
to fix my driver's license, which is one thing that's been bothering me. Because like literally on the Uber app, I had update my account information when I changed my hair color, right? And
Yeah.
they required me to send in new pictures and stuff, and they refused to accept that the person on the ID was the same
Was
person
you.
as me. It
Yeah.
took me like a week to work with, to find anybody to even speak with to get that
Right.
passed through. And I'm just ready to get my name change done, get right into the DMV, get a new picture of myself that doesn't look 100. I mean, I've shown that
I did it
ID
on the
my
way home from the
TikTok,
courthouse.
and people are like, "Who is that person?"
Right.
Because it just looks so much different in terms of like the facial
Yeah.
structure, hair,
Mhm.
and everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very happy once this is done.
I love that.
Well, it
So-
wouldn't be an episode of Tongue First if we didn't talk about sex a little bit. What has what has post transition dating been like for you? Like, have you been dating? What is your, I don't know,
What's
how
your
does that
preference?
fall?
What do you?
We haven't talked about anything in terms of that yet. So I was curious, and this is where we get into some deep shit.
Some juicy
Yeah.
shit,
I've been trying to date. I'm on the different dating apps. I try to meet people in the music scene. I haven't had much luck with at the beginning of this year, I was like, sometimes I am kind of attractive to certain men if they would check off all the boxes, because I've only dated women in the past. I'm still, like sapphic. I've dated trans women. I've dated, other women and, cisgendered women, and had good relationships, but nothing serious. And then January of this year, I was like, all right, I'm going to put myself out there to see if I can meet any men that might, be interesting to me, or, whatever, that check off some boxes for me. One connected with me, and he really, he checked off a lot of the boxes because he said he was a former model. He looked like it. He said he was a photographer, and he looked like a really interesting character. And, we talked for a little bit. He asked me if I wanted to go, out and go on a little date. He let me pick where I wanted to go, which made me, feel safer. And then that day, I went to the coffee shop that I mentioned where I know everybody to, feel a little safer. And he shows up, he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, Daisy, how are you?" And I'm great today. How's your day been? And he's like, "Oh, it's been good, but I left my phone out in my car. I need to go grab it real quick." And so I watch him walk out to his car because I was curious about the car. He seemed like a cool person. He hops into a seriously cool car and drives off.
Wow.
So I sent him a message because, I'm not afraid. I sent him a message on the dating app immediately, like, it seems like you had something come up. Just let me know if you want to get together again. And he sends me a message back. "I'm so angry at you right now. You didn't tell me that you were a trans woman, blah, 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 blah." First off, we met on the Facebook friend side. It wasn't even technically the dating side. And secondly, like, I had pictures with and without makeup on. So it should have been in some way obvious had he not just been swipe, 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 because I also said in my profile that I'm a trans woman.
Yeah.
Right. So you really didn't pay attention to anything.
No, he didn't. So I was just like, listen, this is your fault. It's not my fault. You can't be mad at me when you didn't take the time.
He knew. He took the time and knew.
And like, so that made me not want to date men again. I cut that out for a minute. And then recently I dropped one of my Uber passengers off at one of the gay bars here where they do drag show. And shortly after that, I went there to go see one of the drag shows. And he walks up to me and he's like, "Do you remember me?" And I'm like, "Not exactly." And he's like, "I was one of your Uber passengers. You dropped me off here a week or two ago. Do you want to go have a conversation?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So we go upstairs to a quiet area and we have a little conversation. We talk to each other about relationship goals because I like doing that, right off the bat.
Mhm.
Make sure everybody's on the same page, right? And he seemed like a cool person. And and then this is another thing too. I like a quick turnaround. I like somebody that's as spontaneous as I am, somebody that matches my energy. Because if they don't match my energy and they're not spontaneous, we're probably not going to hit it off. So he was like, "Tomorrow, do you want to get together for dinner? And, we can meet at this restaurant that I wanted to go to." And it sounded like a place I wanted to go. So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. 6 p.m. tomorrow. And I'll message you before that time." Next day rolls around like 4 p.m. I send him a message like, "Hey, I'm excited to meet you at that restaurant tonight." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't think you wanted to go."
What?
And I'm just like, "What do you mean? You didn't reach out to me and ask, do you still want to go? Like you're just..." So anyway, I think he got cold feet or
And
something.
he asked you, right?
Right.
He asked you if you wanted.
And then he's like, "Do you want to reschedule for a different day?" And I just replied, "No. You had one chance.
Yeah.
Not at that point.
You had one chance.
You ruined it.
And you lost that chance. You proved yourself of who you're going to be in the future."
Right.
But I don't know. I had an Uber passenger today. He checked off a lot of boxes. I kind of wished he would have been like, "Hey, do you want to get together?" Something, but no, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll because even as an Uber driver, I'm like the way I'm with you right now. I just have very open, long-winded conversations with everybody that gets in my car. And I mean, it's like, that's kind of a defense mechanism for me.
Don't rule it out. Don't rule it out. You might find, if it's a situation where you find a guy that you maybe like and you experience that, maybe you're like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I told that guy at the drag show, I was like, "Hey, because I would be in a monogamous relationship with a woman, but I would want to be in an open relationship with a man and be able to date women. And I would make sure that we were both cool with that woman because I wouldn't want to make it awkward or something, I don't know. I'm just...
Let's get weird. Let's get weird.
So are you saying that you would want to be poly if you had a boyfriend, but if you had a girlfriend, you would not? You would want to be monogamous?
No, if she wanted to be poly, I would, because I'm poly for sure. If she wanted to be poly, we'd have a poly relationship. If she didn't want to be poly and I loved her enough, I'd be like, let's make, I'm open to a monogamous relationship with you because you're special.
Is poly a new thing or is that because this is like a new situation for Siren? So
it is. I want to get into it, but Wendy, I don't know if we have enough time.
I know. Maybe we can do like part 2. Daisy 2.0.
I don't know. I think I'm running out of stuff to talk about. You'd have to think up some.
Oh no, we can definitely have a whole conversation about poly and relationships.
But there's so much stuff we could talk about.
All kinds of stuff that we can talk
craziest
about.
Uber driver, your craziest Uber passenger.
Is it like taxi cab confessions?
Gosh.
Like what? Yeah.
But we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. We have to
Look, there's so much more we can talk about, Daisy.
I had two in one night, just 2 nights ago. 2 creepy people. One creepy man, another creepy old man that was like, "Ooh, you're sexy," and I'm just like,
ew. I don't consent to that.
I'm trying to work.
Right, I'm just trying to give you a ride, you weirdo.
Right.
Oh my god. As our palate cleanser question, our last one of the night, if you're up for it, what's something that you went tongue first on lately that tasted just like really, really, really good?
Oh, literally tonight, I went, we have this Confissier Suisse, a chocolatier here in Kansas City that they just have all sorts of different confections and little squared chocolates that are
You
like
were
10
telling me
bucks
about
a
this
piece,
before we hit
that sort of
record.
crap. I got this little, it was I think it was called a Bombay au chocolat. And it was just like a little puff of mousse with a little dense cake and covered chocolate ganache. And I ate that as slowly as I could because it was just the most delicious thing I've ever had.
Sounds delightful.
Oh, it was.
That does sound delightful.
And for 10,000 followers, I went to an all-you-can-eat sushi place to celebrate, and I did it on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as it was wrapping up, the owner came over and she's like, "Hey, we're just going to go ahead and give you your meal for free. You can just give the waitress whatever you want for a tip."
Aw,
And
I love that.
I'm like, am I an influencer now? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yes, you made it,
I made-
babes.
Let's go. You have a P.O. box now. I saw your video where you were really excited about that. Exciting.
And look, you got there pretty quickly. It took me a decent amount of time to get to 10K followers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I felt like I was never going to get there.
And when I looked, like you said, I was a different person when I started. If you go back and look at those first videos that I have on my channel, you can see how awkward I was.
Yeah.
It's almost funny,
It's beautiful.
know what
I
to
love
do. I
seeing
didn't
people
know.
grow like that.
But you can tell, how you've grown into yourself and you've gotten more
Yeah.
comfortable with the platform and
Mhm.
you maybe feel like you don't have to be on edge as much because you got your moderators, you got your regulars that come into the chat. So people like who Daisy is.
Right.
And the more people that see that, it's like the better.
Yeah.
And something that I read that really kind of changed everything back when I was starting was like celebrities, the ones that play the same character all the time. That's basically them in real life, but on camera,
Mhm.
that's them cranked up to 11. And I
Yeah.
decided to just adopt that for myself. And anytime I'm on the TikTok, it's me at 11.
Yeah.
Well, Daisy, thank you so
Daisy.
much for being a guest. You're
Yes,
fantastic.
thank you so much.
And I really appreciated getting to talk to you and getting to know you. You got tons of
Absolutely.
stories, it sounds like.
I
And
really do. I haven't even.
I'm excited to hear more of them.
But yeah, I appreciate you inviting me to this, and I can't wait to see it on the internet. And sorry if I've been really long-winded here and made this a longer episode.
No,
than
it's
normal.
okay.
No.
I don't know. If it's
The
No,
episode's-
this is about
No.
the average recording with a guest
Okay.
lengthwise. It's just a matter of like, I feel like for every like 10 minutes of recording time, it takes almost like an hour of editing time when it's all said and done. So
And I guess one of
and
the other
that's not
things that you said in
final.
your message to me earlier was like, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself again. Like I've said this a
Yeah.
lot on my live. If I could go back in time and tell myself everything that I've done over the past couple years and show myself who I've become, I would have done it sooner.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
if I told myself that I had gone to 180 bands over the course of the last year and made friends with dozens of bands, like people in those bands, I wouldn't believe it. I would not
Right.
believe everything that's happening now. It's because it's crazy how I've manifested so much since coming out.
When the universe and like you and who you are all in alignment,
Mhm.
like good things happen.
Right.
And when
Mhm.
you realize that like you deserve it, you claim it.
Yep.
And that's the
'Cause
thing
you
in the
do
past.
deserve it.
I didn't think I deserved it because of my CPTSD. I thought that it was just, whatever happened. And, it's just, this is my life. I just have terrible luck. I don't know. Right.
I tend to think that people that have had to go through a lot of shit, like really are very, very deserving. And you're not used to that because you're used to like the rug being pulled from underneath you. So when stuff is happening, it's such like a trauma response to be like, when's someone going to pull the rug out from underneath me?
Right.
Exactly.
Until it gets to a point where it's just, this is it. This is good shit that's happening, and you have good things in your life. So people that have been through a lot of stuff like us, I feel like we definitely deserve a little bit more happiness. I said it. We
You
deserve
said
more
it.
happiness. We have trauma.
Yeah.
That's why we're funny.
Right.
Trauma does make us funny. This is true. Daisy, how can people find you
Yeah.
if they're out looking for you?
I'm on all the different platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, under the name Lackadaisy Lady. On YouTube, it pops up as Daisy B, but that's mostly my concert record. And TikTok's just kind of mainly where I do the lives. I don't post videos as much there.
You have a couple cool karaoke videos. You got a good voice.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Daisy loves to karaoke. I've seen you a few times. Everyone go follow Daisy.
Everyone go follow Daisy. Follow Wendy too. You should follow her. She's
follow
a baddie.
me too. Baddie with a fatty. Hey.
Yeah, you
Daisy,
guys probably
thank you
already
so
follow me,
much.
so I'm not going to say anything about me. It's
Yeah,
fine.
no, you're cool. Everyone follows you already. Thank you, Daisy. I really
Thank you,
appreciate you,
Daisy.
and I love getting to know a little bit more about you as well. And hopefully we'll just get to know like more. If you want to do this again, I would love to talk about more things and maybe go a little bit deeper.
Okay. Well, we can talk about it again in the future.
Absolutely.
As long as it's tongue
Thank you for
first.
having
Let's go.
Exactly. Everyone have a good night.
You too.
Bye, bye, bye.
That's it for episode 12. If this episode reminded you that healing isn't a straight line, share it with someone who needs to hear that today. Leave a review, follow the show, and find Daisy on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under Lackadaisy Lady. And if you want more bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes moments, and the full After Hours community, head over to the Tongue First Patreon. The link is in the show notes. This episode of Tongue First was hosted by Aubrey Siren Jones and Wendy Reeves. Edited and produced by Bo Dara McIntyre, Wendy Reeves, and Aubrey Jones. Special thanks to Brooke Dale, me, for the intro and outro voiceovers, to Daisy Barton for trusting us with her story, and to Bo Dara McIntyre for keeping the guests coming, the socials running, and the Patreon community growing. Special thank you to our Pillow Talk members, Tay Marie, Valicera, Brooklyn C, Siren, Meggers, Mr. Val, and Mandus. We see you, and we appreciate you more than you know. New episodes drop every Monday. Until next time, stay curious, stay queer, and don't forget to lick responsibly.